In this demonstration, I'm going to show you how eManager works and tackle one procedure, at least get it started to show you how the whole system works. So in the top half of the screen, we have a list of all the procedures that we subscribe to, and the bottom half of the screen is just some basic information about the procedure, almost like the front cover of a book. Now, what eManager does is it allows any person without any prior knowledge of the regulation or rules to actually deal with a complaint or an accident report or any process and ensure that every step is followed exactly as it should be. So in this installation, we have the ability to deal with an accident report in accordance with the law, disciplinary action which complies with the legislation and ACAS guidelines. We could record cough monitoring. We have an employment handbook which automatically updates itself, or we have an NHS complaint, which is the module that we're going to demonstrate today. To get started, you simply double click on the bottom screen and you are in the procedure. The way each procedure works is you have what we call sections. You click on that section, which is this bar in the middle of the screen, and within that section you will either have information or further questions or decisions that you have to make in light of the circumstances of your case. Now, what you will also notice is anything in the red means it is mandatory. You cannot move forward unless you complete mandatory fields. So when we try to move forward, which is the blue button at the top right, it will stop you until you have completed that question. So let's move forward to the next question. Now it is pretty straightforward. You're into the form and you record your basic information, such as the name of the person, in this case we'll call it John Doe, and let's assume the complaint was received today and it actually related to sometime last week. Complaint details, pretty obvious, just follow the instructions on the screen. So let's pretend that we had a complaint about the receptionist being rude, which is quite a common complaint, and our immediate response was, I apologized. And you could add other information such as you apologize but the client didn't accept it, and we'll deal with it a little later depending on how it all panned out. You can close the section and try and move forward, and you will notice that it doesn't let you, once again because a mandatory field was not completed, but this time it opens the section where the mandatory field is, so you don't have to hunt around for the question. Now, the decision we have to make in this particular case is whether this should be dealt with under the legislation or not, and we have a human decision. So it'll give you information like what you would do if there are children involved, about time limits, who can and cannot complain, and when you have read that, you can make the decision: are we required to follow the regulation, yes or no? If you were to say no, then the next step will be a letter to the client, basically saying that the legislation requires me not to respond to this, and you'll have a standard letter with the quotations and everything in it. If we say that we are required to follow the regulation, it will now allow us to go to the next step, and which is the core decisions. Core decisions here will be who is filing the complaint, and each question that you answer triggers other questions. So in this case, if you said it was a patient's representative, we will have to decide whether it was a parent or a guardian, a spouse, and another relative. Now, nothing may happen on the screen at this stage, but as you go through the steps, you will have to provide further information about that particular person or the organization that they come from, which will eventually go into the complaints report or the letters that you have to write, and all the letters, standard letters, are built into the software. And actually, that is all that you need to know about how to use eManager. If you wanted to craft a report at the end of the year, you press the Excel icon and you get pre-configured reports generated automatically. And let's not save that. If you wanted to produce an audit trail, you would click this button and it will actually just simply give you a Word audit trail. And when you close it, your file is now saved under saved files and you're ready to start another procedure. Or you may return to that same one the following week or whenever, and when you double click on that procedure, it will take you to exactly where you left off. And that, in a nutshell, is how eManager works. The process that I've just shown you applies to every single process. If you can do one, basically you can tackle any other problem from here on. I hope you enjoyed that short video. Thank you for listening.